mentioned before that similar to me, like you were going through a period where, you were worried about what people think about you and your self-doubt. And I look at where you are today, I would love to learn from you, but what did you do to kind of push yourself? I know what I've done, but I'd love to hear you. What did you do to kind of push yourself through that?
Well, to be honest with you, one is just doing it. Like you said,
Yeah.
squashing that fear with practice. It's so good the way you phrased it. Just get on that journey and get to the point where you just keep looking forward instead of looking back at the shore and saying, oh, I should totally stop doing this. Because to be honest with you, there are times I'm tempted and like, what are you doing? What have you done to yourself?
No, you keep going, Claire. I won't let you.
Exactly. So you get on that journey and you keep going. And so, just like Andrea mentioned, it is accountability. Having people that cheer you on is imperative. Being accountable to people in your life that won't just let you quit and give up is important. And those people are there, but those people are not always where you think they are. Sometimes they're not always in your immediate family because family sees you just as you are and they're like, I don't think you should be doing this sometimes, right? I mean, I'm blessed and my family encourages me, but there are other times that extended family is like, what are you doing? And you have to be aware that sometimes the people that will cheer you on are not always those in your closest circle initially. And be okay with that and just keep going. And God will arrange the people that you need to encourage you and push you and motivate you in your life. I don't know if that answers the question, Andrea.
Yeah, and I think the way God has created us too, we all have gifting. Like it's biblically based, it's all there. And I feel if we can really discover what our gifting is, the passion kind of comes with it, right? So God has created me this way, and I'm learning and I'm asking him to show me and to use me to, help other people. So I think once you can figure that piece out too, and just, really pray about it and ask God to show you, he will, right? And it may be scary, but if you ask him, he's always there with you. And he's always trying to kind of, for me anyway, really pushing me. And when I have that self-doubt coming in and I have any of that, I just pause and reflect. I remember recently I was doing a talk and I had all this self-doubt coming in and I was losing my mind. And I just basically got my shoes on, went for a walk, and I just basically prayed right before the event. And I went on there and I felt so much better, right? So, but I had to get myself in that space and get that closeness with him to remind myself of who I am, how I was created, and how I can use these giftings, to make him proud, right? At the end of the day, I want him to say, well done, child, right? That's the one thing I'm always in my head is at the end of the day, is he proud of me, right? It's important to me.
So good. Well, we're going to take a break, and she almost has me in tears. So, break here.
So cute.
All right. So that was a lovely place to stop. And oh my gosh, Andrea. Okay, let's.
Really? I'm really making you cry. You're not just saying that.
Yes. I love the way you've brought in God. So we're just going to continue right here. And Andrea recently was talking about the role of prayers in overcoming that self-doubt, those loud voices, and right now I'm just thinking about a song that I wrote that was released by one of the co-writers, and it's called Only You. I'm going to put a link to that song in the description because one of the words we talk about is how the voices tell me about my insecurities, in my head, and I need to remind myself that I am God's child, and he's the one that sent me on this errand, I'm not doing it for myself, it is for his glory at the end of the day. And prayer is so key. I remember 2 years ago when we started working together, and one of the things that we talked about was praying through your self-doubt and insecurities. And can you share a little bit more about where you are today, 2 years later, versus all of those voices that were loud in your head 2 years ago?
In my prayer, how it shifted is before it was more about, helping me in that journey
Hmm.
and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. But today, a lot of my prayer, believe it or not, is the Thanksgiving. Like I'm always, always, always thinking. Sorry, my phone's ringing there. I'm always in a process of thanking God and the thankfulness, because I've seen the journey. I've seen where I am today. I'm excited for the future and what the plans God has for me, but I'm still in awe. Like I can't believe where I am today and where I was a few years ago. So for me, it's thankfulness right now.
So good. I love what you said about gratitude, and I put myself on a gratitude diet recently for my voice, because we have the areas of your deepest insecurity. You should just turn it, like Andrea said, to a praise offering, and thank
Okay.
God for what He's doing in that area and what He has gifted you within that area. And I just decided that I'm going to thank God for my giftings when it comes to singing and to writing, and just pause daily when those voices are coming at me. Because the thing about writing and releasing stuff is that sometimes you hear your voice, and this happens to all singers everywhere, even the ones, the big names you hear out there, they all talk about hearing themselves on the radio, and sometimes they oscillate between joy and cringe. Joy that they're out there, but then they cringe and like, oh, do I sound like that? So when you hear your own songs, the tendency is to want to cringe. And I just told myself, I'm not going to cringe. I'm going to thank God. I'm going to take a moment and thank God daily for this period of time, for this gift, and just say, thank you, Jesus, for this gift that you have given me, and not big prayers, but I can tell you that has changed me from inside over time.
It does. It changes your attitude, your mindset. The other thing I say about gifting is it's not what your gifting is, Claire, that I think God really cares about. It's how you're using it.
So
Right. So I'm always reminded, Andrew, it's not about the gifting. It's what am I doing with the gifting, right? So okay, I'm work. Shut the door, please. Thank
we'll edit it. You're good.
you. So yeah, so that's what I always remind myself of.
Good. No,
Yeah.
you reminded me of the parable of the talents, right? That
Yeah.
that just moves me. If you talk about something that gets me going, once my mind just drifts over to the parable of the talents, I'm like, it's so easy to be that person that hides their talents, and say, but it's for whatever reason, that guy had his reasons for hiding his talent in the Bible. And when you really look closely at his reasons, you realize that the reasons we come up with are not too different, such as, and you didn't give me a lot of gifting in this area. I feel like out of 10, I'm like a 3, while this person is at a 10 out of 10. So surely they should be using their talent and they should be using their passion, while I'm not gifted enough, so I'll just go hide it. Oh, I don't think people will appreciate my talent, so I'll hide it. All of those things that we tell ourselves instead of going out and using what we have. And I'm so glad that that parable talks about a person with 10 talents and 5, and we're seeing that the person with 5 was as faithful as the person with 10. So you can be at a 5 out of 10, right, in terms of your natural ability, but you can be faithful where you are. And like Andreas just said, that is what God expects of us.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Totally agree. Great analogy, my friend. Great storytelling.
And before we wrap this up, so is there anything that you want people to learn from your own story? I mean, your journey over the past 2 years in your following your passion for coaching people, for speaking. I mean, how did you make some decisions? Because I know that you've made some big choices to follow this passion. So can you tell us a little bit about that journey, like as much detail as you want to share, and what keeps you moving, and how you want to encourage somebody else to get on that journey and keep moving, you know.
Yeah, I think my encouragement to people would be to really spend time trying to figure out and understand their God-given talents and gifting along with what they're passionate about. Because, when you bring passion to things that you love and just you're a very passionate person, you tend to people gravitate to you, people want to hear from you. It just really kind of awakens people's, perspective on life. I've seen it kind of unfold. So my encouragement to people is you all have giftings, you all have passions. And if we were all to operate at that level of using our giftings and passions and figuring what they are, I just think the world would be a much brighter, better place. So
Absolutely.
I just am always encouraging and trying to inspire people that it's in you. You just have to figure out what it is and awaken it, right? So I just love to encourage people to continue my own journey. I mean, it's never too late. I'm in my 40s, and I'm kind of at the peak of my career right now, and I'm loving it, and I'm loving where the stage of my life is. But I'm also very excited for the future and how God's going to continue to use that in me. So I'm a different person than I was a few years ago, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm again full of gratitude. I'm so thankful that our paths crossed, because you've changed my life in so many ways, Claire.
Oh,
But it's true. So yeah, I just really, really encourage people, because it just makes me so sad when I talk to people and they don't have that passion and that light, because it's there. And I just really, really want to encourage people to keep looking and searching and praying, because they'll find it.
so good, Andrea. And you touched on two things, but before I lose the train of thought, I want to encourage you, if you can, get some coaching, especially if you feel like you're stuck in a rut. I remember
Yeah.
being in my career and growing in my career, I got to a point where I thought that, I had no passion anymore for music, and it was just okay. I was part of the worship team and the band, and that was just it. That was about it for me. And I didn't think that I wanted to do anything serious about music anymore, because that's just where I was, and I'd lost all the passion in that season because I was just overtaken by work, and family, and that's okay. We have seasons in our lives, but
Yeah,
but also you mentioned age. You get to a certain age and you're like, let's leave this for the younger people, right?
no, that's wrong.
Exactly. And so it's great that you're addressing that, because I know that there are people my age as an older millennial, right, up to you in your 40s, who are thinking like, maybe I've missed the bus with this one, and let's just get the kids to follow their passion while I cheer them on. No, 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 it's not too late for you. You can follow your passion, at whatever age, as long as you're breathing and you can go for it.
Yeah,
And you mentioned, Andrea, the role that coaching played in all of this.
it's huge. It's changed my life.
Hmm,
It's
absolutely.
changed my life. It really opened my eyes to what my true values are, what my strengths are. It was such a sounding board and a support system that was so needed. My other advice is, everybody can benefit from coaching, any stage in life, any age. I wish I had started 10 years earlier. I always say that. But again, it's the piece to the puzzle. It's transformed my life, and I'll never, go without it. I think I will always be coached, and I'm open to it. I'm very, very open to it, and I've embraced it. But I've seen the results. So yeah, it's been amazing.
And what about the misconception that people have that if you admit that you need a coach, you have a problem? How do
Hmm.
you address that?
Says that? Come on.
Yeah, there are
No,
people that feel that way.
one of my values is really health and wellness, and to me, coaching is a contributing factor to that. Because from a work perspective, it's just provided so much clarity. And I've used it from the clarity piece, but I've also used it when I've had to make a tough decision or I have challenges at work. I mean, nobody goes through their career without challenges, right? So it's just that sounding board to kind of help you through it. Or if you're stuck in a rut, you know, whether it's with people or your own career, the coach is there to help support you and help you through that. So I just see it as it's a very useful that I've engaged with it. And I just see so many benefits beyond just, you know, the weakness piece that you're talking about, because it's not that at all. It's complemented and it's really helped me a lot. So, yeah.
Well, I love what you said about coaching, and what we're going to do for those people who actually watch this video to the end, you know, you can visit my website and I will give you a discount on a coaching package to get you started, because Andrea knows I always say that I'm a pragmatist. I like to be pragmatic and solve problems. So if you feel like you're at a place where you want coaching, you're ready for coaching, drop us a line and we will get to you and offer you a package to help you get out of the current rut you might be in when it comes to this area of your life. You know, one of the other advice that I got a lot of as an aspiring singer-songwriter was to get a mentor. And Andrea is the mentor woman. So next time we will talk about coaching versus mentorship and sponsorship and how you practically find mentors. Believe me, she has all the answers. So
That's another topic I'm very passionate about. Thank you, Claire.
yes, and I'm so glad that God brought you to my life, because I know that I went out genuinely looking for mentors in several areas of my life, and it was hard, but hearing you break it down and deconstruct it so easily, you know, is inspiring, and it gives hope, because people feel like it's hard to find a mentor and even more difficult to find a sponsor. So Andrea will be sharing some nuggets about that some other time.
Very passionate about it.
Well, Andrea, thank you so much for being with us today, just blessing us, you know, with your lovely self, you know, and all your wisdom. And thank you for being authentic about it and willing to share.
Yes, thanks, Claire. Thanks for having me.